I'm so broke I can't even afford my mortgage. So I'm gonna go to the tanning salon and I might get a gel manicure too.
If you're homeless, stop being homeless, mama. All you have to do is buy a house, or you can hire people to build one for you.
Why did I buy this house? Oh, why did I buy this house, dude? I blame Jordan on God. I don't care. I blame you, bro. You made me buy.
The Beverly Hills, Ashley and her husband, they just bought a freaking mansion for $8 million.
Here's a day in the life of an influencer living in Los Angeles who can't pay her mortgage. Weekend edition at
There's a moment online that feels almost universal. An influencer announces they've just bought a house, not just any house, a mansion. The reaction is immediate and universal: admiration and inspiration. And for some people, a quiet feeling of being left behind.
I just bought an $8.7 million mansion. Post your content. If anything I ever tell you means anything to you, post your content. Let me show you my property.
The Beverly Hills, Ashley and her husband, they just bought a freaking mansion for $8 million. Bought. And the message she had behind that video was solely post your content. If y'all don't know who Ashley and the Beverly Hills is, Ashley, she used to live in a trailer home. Like, they was on food stamps, government assistance. Like, they was practically like poor pretty much. She did not come from the best lifestyle, like, at all. To go from government assistance to buying a $8 million house, that ain't nothing but motivation. Because if she can do it, I can do it too. Like, what? I love finding motivation every day to keep me going. And that was literally the video I found today that's gonna keep me going. Y'all done made about 10 videos today already. Literally, I'm not playing. Seeing that they went from nothing to something and buying a $8 million home is nothing but motivation. And they so humble about it. They are so humble about it. And I love that for them. Congrats, Ashley and your husband. Like, I'm so motivated and I'm so happy for y'all. Like, oh my gosh.
Did Michaela Noguera overpay for a house? Is this really worth $4.5 million? Look, clearly it's a nice house. It's better than my house. This is just my opinion. I don't want to hear in the comments, you're just jealous, blah, blah, blah. I'm allowed to have my opinion. If you're spending $4.5 million, you deserve some privacy. And
I bought this house with the money that I made from content creation. I bought a whole house with the money that I made from influencing. So if you have not started posting yet, you are doing your future self a disservice.
I just bought my first house a year ago, and that's the 20 acres that I live at now. It's my farm. I never thought I was going to ever be able to buy a house one day, and now I own two.
How much was the house?
My house that I live at currently was 1.3. And then
Not
I have a lake
price.
house that was 2.3.
I bought a house with my OF money, and today I wanted to show you how I did that.
Buckle up, everybody. Today we have another influencer home review. This time it's going to be Michaela Noguera's brand new multi-million-dollar home that she moved into a few months ago.
Hi, my name is Amanda, and this is Amanda Spice, where we look beyond what is presented and try to understand what it takes to sustain it. In influencer culture, homes are more than just a place to live. They are a hub for creating content. A beautiful kitchen becomes a filming set. A large living space becomes the big drop. The entire home becomes part of the brand. So when influencers buy larger homes, it doesn't only signal success, it performs success. And unfortunately, audiences respond to that because aspirational content is compelling. People are naturally drawn to what looks like progress and what looks like elevation.
I have one major regret as a full-time content creator. I've been doing this for almost 4 years, and if I could go back and change anything, this is what it would be. I can go all the way back to when I first wanted to be a content creator, an influencer. Content creator wasn't even really like the name for it. But back in like 2018, 2019, I would say, is when I felt like I was really ready to do it, but I was so insecure. I was a single mom at the time. I lived in a tiny little cottage that was totally unaesthetic. I was working at Trader Joe's, so I didn't have like this cool life. In fact, I was rather embarrassed about where I was at in my life. Even though like I felt really good about it, I felt like it wasn't Instagram worthy. And TikTok was still like fairly new at the time. And it was definitely still a culture of like, you kind of had to have an aesthetic life to actually like be an influencer at the time. I wish that I wouldn't have let that stop me. And I wish that even like as I had started as a content creator in 2020, at the end of 2021 is when I started, and I constantly felt like it wasn't aesthetic enough. My house wasn't good enough. My clothes weren't good enough. I wasn't pretty enough, all the things, right? And I would encourage you to probably change your For You page. You can literally reset your For You page, because to me, that's a sign that your For You page is feeding your insecurities. I would say that you probably are on the wrong side of TikTok or Instagram. If you are feeling insecure about your house, about your looks, whatever it is, so much that you aren't wanting to show up as a creator, it's because you're not seeing enough real life creators out there. And I recently changed my For You page.
But recently we've also seen different kind of videos with influencers opening up about the struggles to maintain those homes, talking about pressure, unexpected expenditure, as well as inconsistent income.
I'm done, dude. Like, why did I spot this house? Oh, why did I buy this house, dude? I blame Jordan on God. I don't care. I blame you, bro. You made me buy this shit, bro.
Here's a day in the life of an influencer living in Los Angeles who can't pay her mortgage. Weekend edition. It's Sunday. I woke up in my big gorgeous mansion with my gorgeous husband and my perfect animals, and I did all of my little morning things. I drank my hot coffee. I fed all the kids. Then I got ready for the gym. I love weekends because Colin gets to come with me to the gym, and it's just so much fun. We're at Equinox.
Why is Tara selling her house? Because the mortgage was so high. And the next question is actually, how much is your mortgage? It was $25,000 a month. And I used to be making enough money to cover that. I am no longer. And I'm very transparent about that. And I loved my house and I was trying really hard to make it work. But it was at the point where I was like, I don't want to like feel like I have to like work so hard just to make my mortgage payments. I would rather just sell the house and move on. So it's still on the market right now, but I bought a much cheaper, a much smaller house.
And oftentimes those videos are met with a lot of questions, or rather ridicule. Well, why did you buy a house that you cannot afford? Why did you buy it more than you can chew? And why are you even trying to live above your means?
The whole fad of influencers like not being able to pay their mortgages. I've seen a couple videos that are like, I went from riches to rags. Why are we acting like it's a struggle? I don't understand why the influencers that this happened to aren't just admitting that they were bad with their money. The bad thing about influencing is that it's really unstable. We've been knowing this since like 2013. Why did you just think that you were gonna make millions and billions of dollars for the rest of your life? Like, I'm not buying that you can't pay for your mortgage. I'm also not buying that you didn't know. Like, I just watched a girl's video and she was like, it's like really hard because you make these certain decisions. No, you were just stupid with your money. You could have turned that $10,000 a month you were making into millions if you did it right. Or you could have just saved it. You could have saved the money, you could have lived modestly, but you were wrong. You wanted the lavish life. It's literally the consequences of your own actions. Why are we actually babying this right now? It's a hard thing to put yourself out there. No, it's really not. Like, honestly, it's really not. Being a social media influencer is really not that hard. You can try to make it sound as hard as you want. It's not difficult at all. You make hella money, and if you just do the right thing and don't spend it all at once, you'll be fine. Oh my gosh, I have to work a real job. Oh my gosh. Maybe you shouldn't have dropped out of school to make TikToks every single day.
So I went from having a fat ass house. I had to downsize to an apartment because I had to make that YouTube money stretch. This is when I was like shitting on 9-to-5s. I told myself I would never get a 9-to-5 because I was making so much bread on YouTube. I'm like, hell nah, 9-to-5 not for me. Like, I'm not working no job. Hell nah, I just graduated high school. I'm not going to college. I don't need college. I'm making 15, 20K a month. Let's really get into it. Cause y'all know the internet is talking. The internet is talking. So yes, I went broke for maybe a year and a half. Because that happened to me. So here I am. I ain't went to college. I wasn't working a job. I'm depending on 2K a month off YouTube because that was the only bread I had after they snatched my money away. So, do y'all see how that can like really fuck up somebody's life? Like, they took the money away. So literally, my revenue on YouTube went from 15K to 2K, bruh. Yes, because I was using the intro. So, right? So around this time, YouTube demonetized my videos. That's when my life came at a stop. Like, I was dependent on YouTube money. That was like my main go-to. So when YouTube snatched my money for using that sample instrumental, even though my voice was on it, even though I low-key mixed up the beat, they still...
Emily, let me tell you something. I was on YouTube. I've been on YouTube yesterday, just trying to get acquainted with it and seeing what's going on and how the algorithm work. Baby, let me tell you something. I fell on the trend of content creators are losing money, and some of them have to go back to the 9 to 5. And these content creators was making money between YouTube and TikTok. One girl said that she was making $60,000 a month. $60,000 a month between both platforms, TikTok and YouTube. She says that she purchased a house that was a little bit over $400,000. She's getting ready to lose it. She's getting ready to lose it because she can't pay for it. So, of course, I got my math out, my calculator out, and I was adding and subtracting. I was like, $60,000 a month, and you were getting that for 2 years. Maybe it's the age in me that says I would have paid that house off within 2 years. Because if you're making $60,000 a month, if you paid $40,000 a month, you still got $20,000 left. Your bills ain't that much. I would have went on ahead and paid that house off. $40,000 a month and been done paying with that house within 10, 11 months. If you even paid $30,000 a month, you still have $30,000 left over. You would have been finished paying for a $400,000 house within 13 months. I added up before. This is why I'm saying I don't know how money like that falls in people's hands and they don't pay off bills. So she says that she's about to lose her house making $60,000 a month. Family, let me tell you something.
But whilst those reactions may seem justified on the surface, they often miss the bigger picture. Owning a large home is not just about the purchase price. It is about the taxes, the maintenance, the upkeep, and the long-term financial commitment. And when your income is inconsistent, these financial commitments become heavier with time. Because unlike salary, influencer income can fluctuate significantly. This month you're getting $50,000, the next month you're netting 20, the next month probably nothing is coming in. A strong year can be followed by a quieter one. Brand budgets do change, platforms evolve, and engagement shifts. And suddenly, a lifestyle that once felt manageable becomes unsustainable. Now, moving on to the psychology behind influencers buying mansions and why exactly this continues to happen. Reason number one, industry pressure. Now, influencers do not operate in isolation. They exist in an ecosystem, and in that ecosystem, success is largely visible. When influencer peers are upgrading, buying homes and expanding their lives, it quietly sets a new standard. And that standard is what results in everyone in that ecosystem aspiring to buy a larger home. Reason number two, and this one, I have been observing this for quite a long time, and that is following older and more established creators. I've noticed that many newer influencers are modeling their paths after those influencers that have been in the industry for much longer. But what isn't always visible is time, or rather the impact of time, or the differences that time brings. Some of these older creators have had years, even decades, of building financial stability, and replicating the outcome without the timeline creates nothing but pressure for these new creators. Reason number 3, audience. Yes, now I'm talking about you guys. Because let's be honest, aspirational content performs. Larger homes, better aesthetics, visible upgrades, these things attract attention. And over time, there is an unspoken understanding that growth, especially when it comes to influencers, has to be visible.
Every time I see a video of like an influencer that has like millions of followers and they're filming inside their house, it's so strange because their house is like completely empty. They'll maybe have like a couple pieces of furniture. There's nothing on the walls. There is absolutely zero character in the house. It looks like it's just like a stage for filming. Brooke Monk's video came on my page and I was like, what? Why does her house have no decorations? Her entire page, it looks like a hospital hallway. And that's a pattern with like so many influencers. All of their houses are just plain white gray walls, the same like gray floors. If I was rich and was making that amount of money, my house would be beautiful and adorable and a reflection of me. There's just nothing in their house. And I feel like that's what their heads are like. There's just like nothing.
Get ready with me to go on my brand trip to Bora Bora. As you know, I just moved here 3 months ago, and I'm loving the vibes of this new place that I just...
Did y'all see that video of that girl asking how all the OG influencers were making $30,000 to $50,000 a month and now they're broke and e-begging on TikTok? Like, what happened to all that money? So as somebody who accumulated over 2.5 million subscribers on YouTube back in 2015, and I was literally living in LA, so I witnessed a lot of this, I'm gonna give you guys the breakdown on what happened with that money. I can't speak for everybody, obviously, but just what I've seen. When I moved out there, I thought I was pushing it with my $2,000 one-bedroom apartment, but I had people living in the same building, just at the top floor. I was on the 3rd floor, but they were at the top floor paying $20,000 a month. And then I had some friends that lived in mansions just for the sole purpose of wanting to be able to throw parties and have people come over and make content in there. Literally paying people's yearly salaries, like $30,000, $40,000 a month just to rent this huge house. So for those of you that were also wondering, like, why do a lot of these influencers have big houses but they're fucking empty? Not even joking, to get some good quality furniture in there, it's gonna cost you like $500,000. And don't even get me started on their Uber ego. It's like people reach a certain amount of followers and all of a sudden they can't use Uber X. Ew, we can't pull up to this party in a Prius, order an Uber Black. Why would we spend $250 to pull up to a party when we could spend $19.99? Half the cars that you see these people whipping around are rentals, and they're spending like $300, $500 a day just to whip it around and try to act like they're somebody they're not. Babe, just because you hit 200K doesn't mean you need to go and get a C300 from Mercedes. Like, it's okay, you can drive your paid off Toyota. Maybe 1 out of 10 of my friends actually cooked their meals at home. Everybody was constantly going out to eat or hiring private chefs. When you start making all this money, a lot of people tend to forget that it might stop one day, so they're still going on these expensive vacations, buying all this designer, even if it's starting to dwindle, because they literally got used to that lifestyle. Girl, when I tell you, the second I had enough money to buy a property, I bought one. I could only tell so many story times and do so many get ready with me's before people fucking lose interest, okay? I had to be realistic about it. But I could see how most 21-year-olds are not thinking about that. More or less, a lot of these people ran through their money trying to look cool. That's it. And now they're begging for galaxies and cowboy hats. Cool. Every time I open up this app, I kid you not, I see somebody talking about how are these 19 and 20-year-old influencers living in these skyrise apartments, driving fucking Lamborghinis, unboxing a $500 to $2,000 bag every week. As somebody that's been in the influencer space for over 10 years, let me tell you exactly how they're doing it. Obviously, some people are born lucky. They get born into rich families and their families take care of them, so they're able to shop like that. But let me tell you about the other 90%. I told you guys in a previous TikTok that I witnessed somebody's card get declined and they managed to open up another line of credit on their phone in under 10 minutes and pay for said bag that was thousands of dollars.
I love this creator so much. She keeps it so real. I love seeing her on my FYP. But I wanted to add my story that just happened to me to hers, so you guys could stop comparing your real life to the veneers of influencers on social media, because it's all curated. It's not real. So one of the OG influencers who made a video about me, by the way, when I was getting canceled and calling me Harriet Tubman and the C word, I saw her at an event recently. Now, I'm not going to tell you exactly who she is, but I'm sure you guys can deduce who she is. Back in the day when I wanted to be an influencer terribly and I was working so hard at it and it wasn't happening for me, there were only about 8 black influencers on YouTube at the time who were doing so well, and she's one of them. I think she has like 3 million subscribers on there, like 2 million on Instagram. Anyway, I saw her, and because of what she said about me on my video, I'm like, I'm just going to approach her and say hi. Because one thing I will do is confront you, even if it's just passive aggressive way, in a kind way, but I will always let you know that I know what I know. So I walked up to her and I was like, hey girl. She's like, hi. And she's like, how are you? How have you been? And I said, I bought a place. Now, I'm going to continuously brag about the fact that I bought a place, almost cash, because I was homeless less than a decade ago. So yes, I'm going to brag about it. I'm going to tell anyone who would ask me, how am I doing? I'm going to say successful, like Tiffany Haddish.
How are you? I'm successful. How are you?
Anyway, so I said, yeah, I bought a place. And she looked so, it wasn't jealousy on her face, which I respect. It wasn't envy. She was dumbfounded. She looked bewildered. She was like stuck in the moment. And after about, I guess, 20 seconds of her thinking it through in her head, she goes, how is that possible? How is it possible to buy a place in Los Angeles? How is that possible inside of LA? And she's asked me these questions with curiosity on her face. And of course, I'm so petty. She's carrying a Fendi bag. I'll put up the picture here. This exact Fendi. When I got home, I went to go look it up. It's like $4,500. And I'm looking at her. She's looking at me, and I'm looking back at the bag. And she's looking at me, and I'm looking back at the bag. And I thought this is my moment to stick it to her, because like she was so mean in that video she made about me that I'm just gonna stick it back to her. And I said, well, personally, as you know, I don't buy things like that. And I pointed at her bag. I said, I don't buy things like that. It's not for me. I believe in assets over liability. And so I'm just going to keep buying properties and land. And I will never buy that. And then I was like, well, you know, I'm a huge fan of yours, which I was. That's not even a lie. Like, I was a huge fan of hers when I was trying to be a YouTuber and I was feeling at it. And I said, and I see all your unboxing. And if you sell like 10 of those, you can afford a house in LA too. And I just said, okay, bye to that, and I walked away. And that is a fact. These influencers they do make that money. I want to make that very clear. We make money, but they don't save it because they think in their mind they have to look a certain way to be considered an influencer, which is kind of true. Because when I was getting canceled, I heard Nika doesn't really have money. She's not really rich. Like, she never wears anything nice or expensive. She's not aspirational. She doesn't travel much. Like, she doesn't have any money. And I was like, I'm about to buy a whole land. Like, I'm trying to buy a land in January in Simi Valley. And I think they make this money and they think, oh my God, I have to buy more stuff to look more rich, you know? So I'm going to implore you to not compare your real life, your hard-earned money, your humble life to a life of an influencer on social media, because 2 things. 1, a lot of the stuff that we get are gifted to us. 2, a lot of us become an overnight success, especially the Gen Z ones, and they don't learn financial literacy. That's why you should follow me so you can learn everything about financial literacy. And they just blow through the money. And this girl is just, if you go on her Instagram or her YouTube, you will think she's like a multi-millionaire. And the fact that she could not wrap her head around, she's like, I live in a 2-bedroom apartment and I just don't know how anyone can save up ever for a place. And she could not wrap her head around it. It tells you everything you need to know. They're blowing through credit cards. They're blowing through their savings. They don't save. They don't care about saving. They don't have investments. They have nothing with all this money they make. So don't come.
Now, if we're being honest, this dynamic is not unique to influencers. It's simply more visible because their lives is out there for everybody to consume. Many people in different ways expand their lives based on just bad expectation and then have to adjust when reality shifts. The difference is, for influencers, unfortunately, that process happens publicly. And to be honest, we all have made some dumb decisions. Now, lifestyle creep hits us all in different ways. One of these days, I think I will do a video sharing with you guys some of my hardest and most difficult financial lessons that I had to learn, especially revolving around lifestyle creep. So when I talk about some of these things, it's not just coming from nowhere, it is also coming from experience. When I talk about femininity coaches, likewise, you guys think that I'm just saying it and just pulling it out of my behind. But some of these are realities that some of us have seen happening around us, or realities that we have actually lived. And we speak from a point of close observation or from a point of actual experience.
My biggest money mistake so you don't have to make the same one. Because you can afford something doesn't mean you should buy it. A car, a house, a wedding, pretty much anything. I bought a condo in the GTA during the peak of the real estate prices. And trust me, it was the worst financial decision I've ever made so far. I'm not proud of it, but I did fall into the keeping up with the Joneses trap. In the past couple of years, I've started making more money than I've ever made before. Before that, I was a server. And while I made good money as a server, getting pre-approved for a mortgage, on the other hand, was literally impossible. Once I got my government job, owning a place felt like a real possibility. But here's where I went wrong. I always thought renting was such a waste of money. I had this idea, why should I pay someone else's mortgage when I could pay for my own place? Well, I couldn't have been more wrong. What I didn't realize is that owning a home isn't necessarily an investment, especially if you're living in it. Sure, if I were renting it out and the rent covered the costs like mortgage, property taxes, and fees, it could have been a smart move. But that wasn't my situation. Not to mention, at this point in time, it felt like everyone around me owned a home. My friends, my family, my coworkers, all owned houses. And trust me when I say this, comparing yourself to where other people are at is one of the worst things you can do. And here's the real kicker. The 100K I put down for a down payment, if I had invested that in the stock market with an average of like say 7 to 8%, now that would have been an investment. So here's my message to you. Don't compare yourself to others.
Buying a home, especially a large one, is often seen as a milestone, but in the context of influencing, it can also become part of the performance. And when performance and reality begin to separate, pressure follows, not because anyone intended to fail, but because the system rewards what looks good, not necessarily what is sustainable. So the next time you see a milestone like that, it might be worth asking not just what it represents, but what it requires to maintain. Now, if this is your first time coming across this channel, please hit that subscribe button. It was beautiful hanging with you. Every single Saturday, I post a video surrounding issues that are uncomfortable to talk about. The not so aesthetic side of the internet, I believe, is this. Don't forget to subscribe, and until my next one, see you.